This was actually the first protest I'd ever been assigned to cover or I've ever covered, so I really did not know what to expect. It was kind of a mix between this being the first time and trying to stay safe and experiencing new things, but also really trying to tell the story and making sure to capture these important moments. I spent a lot of time while I was covering this demonstration, the reaction to the shooting death of Alton Sterling, speaking with members of the community, and really the sense I got from them, which is one of the most impactful things and things that meant most to me, is they were looking at me and us journalists saying, "Where have you been? This has been happening for decades." And I really think now with cell phones, everyone having a camera, these killings are coming to light and they're seen by millions and millions of people around the world. And I think because people have had these cameras maybe now for the past 4 years, especially since the Trayvon Martin shooting, it has really come to the forefront. Even myself, not knowing until really Trayvon Martin's death, I felt guilty in not knowing, and especially talking to people in a community very close to my community, New Orleans. You know, Baton Rouge is 50 miles upriver, and yeah, I felt a lot of guilt. Aisha Evans, when she was arrested, she was detained for 24 hours, strip searched, and was released the next day. I had the chance to meet her in person. It's all genuine. What you see in the photo, that's her standing perfectly and is straight and tall and proud. That's who she is. She believes in her convictions. And she told me when Eric Gardner was killed in Staten Island, he was choked, put in a chokehold and died, she decided to go to work the next day. And she felt extremely guilty about that. And she said, "How can I live with my son growing up in this world with this going on?" And when Alton was killed, and then the incident in Minnesota 2 days later, she said, "This time I'm going to do something about it." And she drove to Louisiana, and in the protest, the police were actually pushing the protesters into a park saying, "You can demonstrate here." And she said, "No, that's not why I came here. We came here to make a point." And so she stood in that lane of the road and she said, "I would not be able to live with myself. I would not be able to tell my son that I sat and did nothing." I knew right away, because of what I'd seen earlier, that she was going to be arrested. So I moved as quick as I could. I was maybe 10, 15 feet from her. And when I arrived at the angle that I was at, they were 6 to 8 feet from her, and I had about 3 frames before the frame that I sent that has been seen around the world. So it was about 2 seconds, and the whole arrest actually lasted 4 seconds. So it was 31 frames over a duration of 4 seconds. And so I think that's also the most important part about this image, is how quickly it was made, and it was just a snap reaction. It was an instinct that took over me. You know, I didn't plan out the angle. It's just, you know, something that was inside of me that said, this is where I needed to shoot this from, and I needed to get there quick, because I knew they weren't messing around. Anyone who stepped in the road was being arrested.